Hello, it's Sarah. Welcome to class. In this video, I'm going to break down Chaturanga Dandasana and we'll go through a few drills together that help to build the strength that you need to execute that posture, very hard posture, with the right alignment. So Chaturanga Dandasana is a very common posture in many styles of yoga. It's in the sun salutations, it is in the vinyasa transitions. It's usually done at a pretty fast pace, which is why if you're new to this posture, it's quite hard to understand what the right alignment is like. And it's very often executed with the wrong alignment because besides the speed, it's just a very hard posture. You need tremendous strength in your front core, your shoulder muscles, and your pecs to be able to do it with correct alignment. I want to show you first a few of the most common wrong shapes. So first, very common misshape is something that looks like this. So you can see my hips are sinking first, and this is due to lack of front core engagement and or lack of front core strength. The second quite common misshape is something that looks like this. So I'm sinking with the shoulders and the head first. This is usually due to lack of shoulder muscle strength, pec muscle. Then there's a third thing that can happen that is better to avoid is to place a lot of weight outside of the hands. So you probably can't see here, but you want to use the entire surface of your hands and to even bear a little bit more weight in the inner parts of the hands on the thumb side. And that's because the bone we have in the inner part of the arm, wrist, and so the thumb side is a larger bone compared to the external arm bone, and it is built to bear weight. So now we talked about the wrong shape. What's the right alignment? I'll show. So Chaturanga is usually done starting from plank. I'm already slightly tucking my tailbone in, protracting my shoulders, engaging my front core. I shift the weight forward until I'm on my tippy toes, and then I bend the elbows, I squeeze them in, and I lower until my shoulders are in line with the elbows. So the correct alignment is ideally with the shoulders aligned with the elbow. So the arm is at a 90-degree angle and the elbow is stacked over the wrist. So that being said, you don't have to bring the shoulders in line with your elbows because this is actually really challenging. It's still a struggle for me today. I'm out of breath right now because it's really hard. You just want to avoid to have your shoulders below the elbows, but you don't have to have them in line. You can have them above. So I've described what is the right alignment, the common misalignments. What you can do is film yourself so that you're aware if you have any pattern when doing Chaturanga, and you can know what your stopping point is. And with that in mind, be aware if you need to lower your knees when there is Chaturanga in a yoga class, and do so even if it's not offered by the teacher. So what it will look like is that instead of keeping the knees away from the mat, you'll shift the weight forward, lower the knees down, bend the elbows, even if it's just a little. Be mindful of when your elbows splay out. And if they splay out, that's a sign that you should lower less. So it can be even like very tiny bend of the elbow. Stay where you are at. Be mindful of your stopping point and work where you are. Now for the practice, you'll need a pair of blocks, and if you have it, a strap. If you don't have a strap, it's perfectly fine. You can skip that part. So we'll start with a little warm-up before using our props. Come into a tabletop position, place your hands below your shoulders, knees as wide as the hips, and start to make circles clockwise around your wrists. Breathe in and out from your nose, and make sure you're bearing weight above the wrists so that they get warmed up. Change the direction of the circles. Good. From here, back to neutral tabletop. Point your fingers towards the long edges of the mat and shift the weight from one side to another. Come back to center. Now place the tops of your hands on the mat, palms facing up. If this is too intense, micro bend your elbows. Close your fist as tightly as you can and open. Close again for 2. Open. Close for 3. Open. 4. Squeeze your fists. And last one, 5. Squeeze as much as you can and release the hands. Shake your wrists a little bit and come back in tabletop position. We'll work on our shoulder blades now, the scapulas, just behind the shoulders. Let your chest softly lower. You'll feel the shoulder blades getting closer to each other, and then create space between the shoulder blades. Press down through your hands. Stay. And then lower the chest again. This is called shoulder blade retraction. And press. Create space between the shoulder blades. This is protraction. Repeat this 3 more times. 2 more. Try to isolate only the shoulder blades. The spine remains neutral. Last one. So this, you can increase the difficulty by doing the exact same thing in a plank position. Good. The next exercise is actually plank. So it's an isometrical way of building strength, meaning we're holding the posture. I will stay in it for 1.5 minutes, but I will let you know every time 30 seconds have passed, and you stop whenever you feel that you're struggling. So let's start. Come into plank position. Feet as wide as your hips. Shift a bit more weight forward. Tuck your tailbone in, contract your abdomen, and create a little protraction in the shoulder blades. Breathe steadily. Imagine you're pushing a wall in front of you. And really contract the front core, the abdomen. 30 seconds have passed. If you are starting to shake, maybe it's time for you to lower your knees down and come into a child's pose. If you have more fuel, stay. Use your breath to regulate yourself. Plank is a very simple but efficient, effective posture. 1 minute. If you've had enough, go into child's pose. We'll stay for 30 more seconds. I'm starting to shake a bit. 20 more seconds. Don't let your hips sink. Don't let your front core relax. Almost there. 5 more seconds. And release the knees down. Take a block. Place it at mid-height. And we're going to use it to support our collarbone, just like this. Place it down on the mat and frame your hands around the block. Come into plank. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Come on the tippy toes. Exhale, bend the elbows, squeeze them in. And place your sternum, your collarbone, on the block. This will help you have a feeling of what the alignment is. Rather than allowing your shoulders to relax forward, squeeze the shoulder blades slightly in. Good. Lower your knee and come out of the posture. So this block is taking away a little bit of weight for you, and it's a good way to understand and feel what the alignment is like, even if you don't have the strength yet. Now, the second prop we'll use is the strap. If you don't have a strap, you can skip this part. It's not fundamental to do it. There are so many other exercises we'll do. You want the strap to be forming like a circle here that is your shoulder distance, and place it at the elbow crease, just like that. So your elbows should be slightly outside of your waistline. From there, hands on the mat, come into plank, and you can either do it with your knees on the mat. I will show with the knees on the mat, or if you have more strength, you can also do it with your knees away from the mat. Inhale, shift the weight forward, start engaging your abdomen, squeeze your glutes. Exhale, bend the elbows, and the strap will act as a net and stop the shoulders from going below the elbows. Now, push up and lower. Exhale for 2. We'll do 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good. You can remove the strap. We're done with it for now. Next exercise is with 2 blocks. So we'll place them at the lower height. One of them will be under our chest, and the other one will be underneath our pubic bone. Come into plank, hands on mat. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, bend the elbows. Adjust the blocks if needed. One block underneath the pubic bone, the other one underneath your chest. The wrists are underneath your elbows. Tuck the toes. From there, you'll press, lower the knees down, You'll press the chest away from the blocks. And if you have enough strength, you might be able to press yourself up completely. If not, it's perfectly fine to just lift slightly. So you'll have to test and find out for yourself where your stopping point is, and we'll repeat together 8 times. So I'll be fully extending the arms, but you don't have to. So let's start. Exhale fully. Inhale. Exhale. 1. We'll do 8 times. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. And 8. Come into child's pose and have a rest. Forehead on the mat. Deep breath here. Elongate the exhalations as much as you can. Slowly come back up. We have 2 more exercises and drills to see. The next one is again with 2 blocks. Highest level, we'll place our hands behind, and these blocks will help support the shoulders. It's great if you fall into the bucket of people that tend to sink the shoulders and the head too much. This will give you an indication of where to stop. It's not exactly shoulder in line with the elbows, but it's very good practice. Again, you can do it with your knees lifted away from the mat or on the mat. So inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, bend the elbows, touch the shoulders on the blocks and press up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go into child's pose. Rest the forehead on the mat. Slowly rise. The last drill will depend on your strength and progression. We're not using props anymore. And we're placing our hands on the mat. We'll just repeat Chaturanga push-ups with our knees on the mat. And one day maybe repeat these with our knees away from the mat. So the way you can adjust the intensity is by lifting the knees away from the mat, bringing them on the mat. And the second variable is how much you bend your elbows. So bending the elbows until the shoulders are in line with the elbows is too much. You don't have to do this. You can slightly bend the elbows and stop there. So we'll repeat 8 of these. Come into plank. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, lower your knees and lift your feet. Gaze down and forward, not between the hands, forward. Inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Come into child's pose. Rest the forehead on the mat. Walk your arms to the left, stretching the right side of the body. Right hand can go on top of the left hand. Breathe as deeply as you can. Send your breath to the right side of the body. And walk the arms to the right. Left hand can go on top of the right hand. Great length in the left side of your body. Breathe deeply. Walk the arms in front of you and slowly come into a tabletop position. Lower your belly down. Extend the right arm to the side. Turn the head to the left and roll on the right side of the body until you place the left foot behind your right leg. This is a nice shoulder stretch. Remember to breathe deeply in these stretching positions so that you're bringing new oxygen to your muscles that you're stretching. Come on the belly, extend the left arm to the side, bend the right arm, and turn the head to the right. Roll onto the left side. Lie down on the belly once again. Extend the right arm to the side and now bend the arm. So your right arm is at a 90-degree angle. Turn the head to the left and shift again on the right side of the body. You can place the sole of the left foot or the toes of the left foot behind the right leg. A slightly different stretch here. We're stretching rather than the shoulders, a little bit more our pec muscle. Elongate your breath. Roll on the belly once again. Extend the left arm to the side, then bend the elbow, turn your face to the right, and roll onto the left side of the body. Come back on your belly. Place the hands on the sides of your chest. Come on your knees and sit on the heels or come into a cross-legged position. So I hope this helped to bring clarity on Chaturanga. What I recommend is to practice, especially at the beginning, around 3 times a week. You can select the drills that work best for you, and you can work towards 8 to 10 reps of each, have a break of around 30 seconds, and then repeat 3 series of 8 to 10 reps. I also recommend you film yourself to have an idea of your progression, and mostly also to have an understanding of your movement patterns so that you know where you should be paying attention and what's the area of your body that requires more strengthening. Thank you for joining class and enjoy the practice.